Hello, all you beautiful stars of the morning, shining so brightly day and night. Thank you for watching already. Hit that like button. Today, I am with Dr. Aaron Benjamin Goins. You can call him Dr. Bingo or Bingo, because Bingo, he's here. Um, he is going to be selling his most amazing product that we're talking about today. Um, at my event in September, folks. If you're not already aware of it, in Ringgold, Georgia, just under Chattanooga, there will be the Natural New Earth Market in September. Find it on Facebook. It's going to be a huge event. And I got to say, if you've never been to the South, as many are thinking about moving to the South, come down, spend some time in Chattanooga, come into the event in September in Ringgold. It's just 20 minutes under Chattanooga. Be there, meet with Ben. His product is amazing, and we are going to get into it. Thank you for being here today, Ben.
You're very welcome.
Yes. So I just said Dr. Aaron Benjamin Goins and Health Warrior. I want to get that in there. And you go also by Dr. Bengo. Bingo, we got him. Bengo. See, he's on there. Doctors in the title. What are your alternative medicine? I consider you a doctor. I consider alternative medicine, especially in today's world, actually more medicine than our traditional sense of the word. How should we be thinking in that term?
So I am an alternative medicine doctor, and I agree with you there. Whether you consider me a doctor or not depends on your religion. Okay. If you believe the ancient religion of being a doctor, which is what defines what a doctor is not, someone who violates the Hippocratic Oath and hurts or poisons children is by definition not a doctor. Okay.
Right.
By the ancient religion.
By the ancient.
So what we have is what people have been trained to think of as doctors these days have all proven that they're not doctors by definition, because they're pushing poison. They're pushing poison drugs. They're pushing poison vaccines on children. And it's gotten really bad, just flagrant violation of the Hippocratic Oath with the poisoning of the children these days with the child vaccine. So they have all proven that they are not doctors by the ancient religion. They are still doctors by their religion, whatever that is, be it a child sacrifice, poisoning, assassin cult, whatever the heck they are. And so the mind thing that people have is they've got to get around calling people doctors who are not doctors and figuring out who is a doctor. Now, it's hard to prove who is a doctor. All you can do is prove who is not a doctor.
Okay? Oh, wow. And you said
if you violate the Hippocratic Oath, you are not a doctor.
You said to me that doctor in ancient times actually meant teacher.
Yes, the Latin word doctor means teacher. That is correct. So, what a teacher is and the respect that people give to teachers has changed a lot throughout history. You know, all the way, a druid was a teacher, a priest was a teacher, but for some reason now the word teacher just doesn't command the respect as it used to. Because people are thinking like high school teachers and whatever, but it does. But in the old times, a teacher, it's more, think of more like in the kung fu sense of like, if someone is your teacher, they are like the master of that art, and they're like, they're a big deal. You give them a lot of respect, and you're trying to be like your teacher. And so, I guess in Western versus Eastern culture, that but yes, that is what the word doctor means in Latin, is teacher. That's correct.
Well, I get that then. I get that with kind of mixing the title of teacher with maybe alchemy, apothecary, that kind of stuff, teaching us you can do this, or teaching us how to use the land, use as your product, iodine, silver, use this and teach us about it is more.
And we can all teach each other about something. But it's just what I can teach you about is, I can teach you about health supplements. I can teach you about iodine nutrition. I invented a system of using iodine correctly in a system with silver and gold. So I have nascent iodine, colloidal silver, and colloidal gold. That's what I have. But one other comment on the doctor thing.
Yeah.
If someone says they're a doctor, that doesn't mean anything. It's doctor of what? Are you a doctor of medicine? Are you a doctor of law? Are you a doctor of whatever? Are you a doctor of engineering? So what am I? I'm a doctor. Well, I'm also a doctor of metaphysics, but I go by doctor of supplemental medicine. So I am a teacher of health supplements. And
Oh,
that is to
yeah.
differentiate myself from, in mainstream medicine, they primarily push drugs.
Right.
Okay. And they do not talk about nutrition and health supplements. Now I thought that none of them did. I was wrong. I actually found a field of mainstream medicine that I get along with pretty well, which is I have an internal medicine doctor friend, and they're like one of the few fields in mainstream medicine that actually does still do nutrition and health supplements. And so I get along very well with the field of that. But a lot of the other fields in mainstream medicine, I do not get along with. I'm a very different religion than them,
Yeah.
especially the dentist poisoning fluoride and mercury in
Yeah.
people's mouths, the
I
cardiologists
find
hurting
it,
people's hearts,
I find it fascinating that it's linked to religion, your belief system.
it
I
is.
find that fascinating. And I don't, maybe
But
let's
and
not go ahead.
that's only at the doctoral level, because you
Right.
still have to have, that's only the highest level. You still have to have all the other levels which require science. So like my first
Right.
degree, the biochemistry, the math, the biology, the physics, all that, you have to have all of that too.
Right.
That's
Okay.
only at the highest level. Everybody wants to skip to the highest level, which is religion, but you still have to have the underlying training. I did medical neuroscience in medical school. I have advanced biochemistry training. I have advanced biophysics training.
Right.
I'm an interdisciplinary biomedical scientist by the mainstream definition as well.
Right.
And I've
So
decided to associate with the American Chemical Society. So I consider myself a chemist and a biochemist, and I have to be a chemist to bottle these products, be responsible for
okay.
that. So I'm also,
Excellent.
if that makes
Okay.
sense.
We're going to get into that here in a minute. We're going to move on, but I really want to have the audience kind of hear that yes, you do have to have some education. You do have to, but when it comes to the label, the title of doctor, it is based more so on the belief system you have than it is
And
on
if you
the
don't
actual.
believe me, do you know what
Yeah.
RX means? Like if you go to the pharmacist and you get a prescription, RX, do you know what
Yeah.
that means?
No, I don't.
It,
No.
it's the cult of Jupiter. It's a symbol for Jupiter. So it was a
Oh,
state
wow.
religion worshiping, Zeus, Jupiter. It really is. Yeah, if you don't believe me, that's what that means. It really is.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
I know
so
that sounds
much
weird.
into,
It's really
no,
a
I
mind warp
know.
for people to realize that.
And I believe the audience here at Stars and Morning Light, you beautiful stars, they're going to track right along with this. They're going to say, yeah, he's spot on. And I do feel that there's a movement happening of more people coming to understand your value over our traditional, what we grew up with, doctors. So let's move into your value, Ben, and everyone, I do call him Ben because I met Ben a couple of years ago at another holistic fair. Before we start talking about the product, folks, I want to tell you I tried it. I've used it. My husband at some point in our marriage became insane about silver, and we had bought every product out there. I still think we have some in the house somewhere.
Yeah.
Nothing, absolutely nothing had ever, I mean, immediately the effects to my body, all of it happened immediately. And I will say I'm very picky about who I choose to come to my events. And Ben was one of the first that I tried to reach out to because I know his product. I know now that there are vast differences between what's out there, wholesale market, getting it out there compared to what Ben's able to do. So before
Yeah,
we
I have the highest quality colloidal silver in the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's jump for just a moment to Ben. What what moved you towards um what introduced you to using silver? What's your story there? Just a brief story as to how did you find silver and the properties that are so beneficial from
Yeah, to find it, you have to sort of have
it?
Okay, but I studied biochemistry at Texas A&M, and then I studied advanced biomedical science at University of Texas Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. And part of that, I was doing a joint degree in biophysics and neuroscience. And this was back in like 2008. And nanotechnology was the big deal back then. Okay. And so I first heard of silver because I was a biophysicist and I was in the field of nanotechnology. And there were these reports coming in that there was this new thing called nano silver that was doing all kinds of crazy stuff and really freaking people out because it seemed way too good to be true. And so I didn't actually study silver in graduate school. I was doing other biophysics, but then later on I went and worked. I did environmental science, and I was doing environmental ecotoxicology, and they were also talking about silver in the environment. And
Wow.
there was sort of a controversy of whether silver was good for you or not. But I noticed that the controversy was over animals and it was not over humans. Like there was no mistaking that it is good for humans. There may be some animals that silver is not good for, but for humans, silver is good. And it becomes for a matter of perspective. Okay, silver kills bacteria. So from the perspective of the bacteria, silver is very toxic. Okay, but from the perspective of the human, you want it's good.
Yeah.
But it turns out it doesn't kill all bacteria, just the bad bacteria. But that was a big thing
Wow.
with silver is like, is it because I was studying toxicology and they were looking at things that were toxins, things that were poisonous. And so I'm always thinking about, and I got into the field of detox. So I want to find the
Right.
poisons and get them out of your body. So the
Right.
field of toxicology, and if you, it, I had to make up this word, but it's a real word, detoxicology. Okay, instead of
Yeah.
toxicology, it's detoxicology. So their religion looks at it from the negative of toxicology.
Yes.
My religion looks
Wanting
at it
to.
from detoxicology. Okay,
This
but
one.
that's how I got into silver, was because I was studying detoxicology and toxicology, and I was trying to figure out, okay, is this good for you? Is it toxic for you? What does it do? You know, stuff like that. And
This is
I
amazing,
ended up
Ben.
using it
Yeah.
for, well, I found out, I mean, there's papers you can read about it, but silver kills bacteria, virus, and fungus, and it's anti-inflammatory. The high quality food grade nano silver does. And back then, everybody was saying, oh, well, it's bad for people because it'll turn you blue, because there's this guy who went on Oprah. But when I got into it, this new nano silver was the right food grade stuff that doesn't turn you blue. So I was like, look, so the only negative thing about this that people are saying is a cosmetic thing, the blue thing, that's not a medical thing, it's just a cosmetic thing. And that one negative thing that people are saying about it no longer applies. So basically, it's all good and no bad. And yet there's a lot of propaganda out there, people trying to get people to not use it. And so it was about 7 years ago. So I was one of the first people out there like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's so good. It's all upside and no downside. And if you think there's a downside, it's because you're using the wrong stuff or you're listening to propaganda. Like the real stuff
Right.
is just all upside.
Right.
And so that's how
Um,
I got into silver, to answer your question.
okay, that's gosh, my mind is kind of blown and all over the place right now. So I'm trying to reel my own mind back. Where is you use 100%? Um, I'm saying this word wrong. I believe I am. Colloidal silver,
Colloidal silver. Yeah.
colloidal silver. Well, I'm going to ask you
And
about the name in a moment, but where is that found? Isn't that found in nature, or am I just
yeah, silver is found in nature. Okay. But most people, you think of like silver jewelry or like big pieces of silver.
right?
Okay. Or like silver coins or something. Um, Food grade, like medicinal silver, the size of the particles are very small. And it's not just ionic silver where you run electricity through it and you get single atoms of silver. There's actually, it's little tiny pieces, but they're not too small. There's sort of a special size range called nano silver. Okay. To
Okay.
answer that, I got to tell you, what does the word colloidal mean? If you
Yeah.
think of, if you take some dirt and throw it into water, it will just settle out to the bottom. But imagine the particle sizes are so small that the thermal motion of the water keeps them suspended, where even if you set it down, they wouldn't just settle out. That's what colloidal is. It stays in colloidal form. It's not so small that it's
Right.
dissolved. So it doesn't dissolve,
Right.
but it stays suspended. And so there's a certain size range. So in nature, silver is found in all different sizes. And if you just have silver and water, some of it would be coming off. To answer your question, where in nature did humans first find it?
Yeah.
I've done a lot of research on that. I think it was probably in rivers. Have you heard of Jason and the Golden Fleece, the
Yeah.
Greek story?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
you would gold sluice and you'd stick some wool in the river, and it would come out and have gold and silver in it. Okay. And then you would take that and they would put it in some other water, and then they noticed that water had healing properties. Okay,
Oh
when they
my
put their golden
goodness.
fleece in it. And
Right.
so in the rivers, like in Anatolia and stuff like that, and other rivers, that's where I think it was probably first discovered,
Okay.
and by humans anyway.
Yeah.
And they noticed that it has medicinal effects. And but the form that they normally found it was electrum, where it actually had the gold and silver together. And then the Egyptians got it and they played around with running electricity through it, and
Yeah.
probably got
Right.
we can prove that. We know for a fact the Egyptians had colloidal gold. Do you know
Yeah,
how we know?
that I do know. That I will agree to that. They definitely did. Wow.
The way that I know is they've actually found ancient glass making workshops in ancient Egypt where they had red stained glass, and it's actually colloidal gold that gives it red color to stained glass. So we know that they
Oh,
had colloidal
wow.
gold,
Yes.
and for other reasons too.
Where you said that name comes from Odin, or there was a brief moment of where the name came from.
The name colloidal, yeah.
Yes.
So the word colloidal is a chemistry name, but there's another side of it that's sort of like the metaphysical side of that name. And have you ever heard of the word alloidial, like alloidial title to land? We don't have it
Oh, yeah.
anywhere in the U.S. except under state law in Texas, but it originates in like Scotland, and it's basically if you have a alloidial title to land, you own that land completely free of taxes because like you're the master of that land. It was a concept
Right.
developed by like the Vikings, the Norse, and the
Right.
Swedish and stuff like
Right.
that. And the word colloidal is also related to the Othala rune, which is a rune for Odin, if you care
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
Norse stuff. But
That's
it basically that it's your sovereign self. You are a
right.
sovereign being when you use gold and silver. You're medicinally, you're basically declaring to the world that you're royalty and that you're a sovereign, and, which
Yes.
is important in America because here in America we didn't just abolish royal. A lot of people think we just got rid of royalty. That's not true. What
Yeah.
we did was we transferred the power of the king to the people, to
Right.
where now all the people have the same rights as the king, and we can interface with God directly. We don't need a
Right.
go between.
Right.
And so it's better to think of that I am individually a king or a princess than just get rid of royalty. Instead, it's all the people are royal, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, we are sovereign beings. Let's talk then about, because I knew when I used your product, it was as if all of my senses were heightened, as if my sovereignty all of a sudden said, "Hello, Courtney." So what is happening with the detox? What exactly is it getting rid of in my body? How is it helping my mind? How, break down, what is it removing from us that has been put in us over time with our food, with our everything? How is it working in the body?
Right. So I have a detox system, which is actually three different things. It's the iodine, the silver, and the gold.
Okay.
Each one of those is pretty complicated and does a lot. On the silver side of things, I just want to finish that topic up, it removes negative energy. So like I saw you do Reiki, basically you put silver on your hands, it removes negative energy is the easiest way to think about what it's doing. um,
Okay.
Metaphysically, if you want to try to explain it scientifically, it kills bacteria, virus, fungus, and it's also anti-inflammatory is what it's doing. But the silver is not actually the focus of my detox system. My
Okay.
IMedDo detox system is actually built around the iodine, and I use
Oh,
the silver and gold on the sides, but it's built around the iodine to do the heavy lifting on the detox. The iodine is good for your thyroid. It's good for your pineal gland. It gets the fluoride out of your body. I call this the IMedDo Ultimate Fluoride and Heavy Metal Detox System. Any heavy metal in your body, mercury, lead,
wow.
cadmium, whatever, flushes that out. Now, the thing is, the iodine will. When you have the high quality nascent iodine, I have the best iodine also. But people were using their iodine incorrectly. And as a chemist, I was looking at the iodine, how to do it better. I bottled it correctly. I fixed the solvent. I fixed the form. I fixed the dosing on how to tell people how to do it with a dose ramping where you don't just start high, you work up with iodine. But the main thing that wasn't right is that people were afraid to take iodine because when you would take it, you would dump the toxins out too fast and the toxins would cause damage in your body on the way out. And so what I did creating the system was I used the silver and the gold for their anti-inflammatory properties. I told you silver does a bunch of stuff. It's also anti-inflammatory. I didn't talk about the gold, but the gold is anti-inflammatory in the brain. The silver is anti-inflammatory in the body. So by detoxing with the iodine and using it with silver and gold, you can flush all the toxins out. The silver and gold will protect your brain and body until they get all the way out. And that way you can detox safely. So it's really about doing it correctly and safely and detoxing without detoxing too fast and detoxing really toxic stuff out of your body without hurting yourself. Does that make sense? That's what
Actually,
my system
Ben,
is really
it
about.
was the Dr. Bingo. I believe it was actually the iodine that I took originally because I remember asking you, I supposedly am allergic to iodine, like shellfish. That's the iodine. And so I remember asking you, can I take this? And you were like, yeah, it's vastly
Yeah,
different.
and my position on that is that a lot of people have been told that they're allergic to iodine, and it's a lie. You're not actually allergic to iodine. You are allergic to something though.
Yeah,
What you're
the
allergic to is
chemicals
the
in the
toxins
food.
that the iodine flushes out.
Right.
Yeah, there's some toxins in your body that when you take iodine, it starts flushing those toxins out,
Mm.
and you have an allergic reaction to those toxins. For most people, those toxins are like mercury or lead. There's a lot of other poisons, but those are anyone who ever had a metal filling has mercury poisoning in their
Yeah.
body. That's the most common one I deal with. But a lot of people have fluoride, and a lot because they put fluoride in all the processed foods now. There's a
Our
whole bunch of other
water, everything. Yeah.
there's a lot of other bad chemicals, but just to keep it simple, I usually talk about halogens and heavy metals. But so your iodine allergy is not an allergy to the iodine. You're allergic to the heavy metals that when you take iodine, it flushes it out. That's a good thing. You want to flush them out, but you have to suppress the damage of those toxins till they get out. And that's why for you to take iodine safely, you do it with a dose ramping where you start low and ramp up. And you take it with the silver and gold, where the silver protects your body and the gold protects your brain as they're going out of your body.
That's
So
amazing.
that's how my system works. And so anyone who has been told that they have an iodine allergy, I can help them. Now, I do want to say on that topic, there is a real iodine allergy, and that is there is a radioactive iodine they use in medical imaging that's really
Yes.
toxic. You still have to flush it out. My system will still work for that. But there really is the radioactive iodine, which is not natural iodine that they give people in hospitals, and then they don't help people detox that.
No,
And so
no.
sometimes if people got that, you can take regular iodine, it'll flush out the poisonous iodine, which is a radioactive iodine, and then they might have an allergy to that. But does that make sense? So there is a
Yes, it
real
does.
iodine allergy for that. But
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of happy that in the hospital I can say, I'm allergic, so they don't give me that because the sickness
yeah,
involved in taking that, having that in my body is worse than whatever the procedure was, like it's horrible.
yeah.
Ben,
So some people have that lodged in their body. I can help them detox that as well, no problem.
you keep saying how it's like you've designed like a course, you've designed a program here. I know that you do consultations with people, free consultations, I believe as well, folks. Do you individually talk to someone and map out for them, okay, these are your issues, this is how you want to go about taking these products?
But
Oh,
you said something about me designing a system. What did you say? I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry. I think we're getting a little choppy here, folks, but that's okay. We're gonna get back together and figure this out. I was talking about, I know you do free consultation. Is that so you can
Yes.
put a program together for their individual needs?
The truth is, my system is so general that pretty much everyone can benefit from using it. However, I like to talk to people and try to listen to them and figure out what toxins in particular they're dealing with, so I can explain how and why my system works. So like typically if someone so you can schedule a free appointment with me, imeddo.club/book to book with me, or book.imeddo.club. But I mean, some of the first questions I ask people are like, okay, do you have a metal filling? Okay, then you're dealing with mercury poisoning. Okay, and then I get information about their diet, and I try to look at and I ask, what type of medical problems they're dealing with. And if people are like, well, I'm losing memory and I've got mercury in my mouth, it's like, okay, well, probably that's related to heavy metal poisoning, and so you would really benefit from detoxing mercury out of your body, things like that. So I like to talk to people to try to better understand and better. But really, it's more about me being able to better explain to them the importance of detox and try to figure out what exactly poisons that they're dealing with and explain what kind of benefits they're going to have by getting rid of those poisons. But they're just poisons
Awesome.
everywhere now. But yes,
Um,
I like to. But as far as customizing, you are right. Some people do require some custom dosing. That's usually for like children and pets. Will be lower doses, and also some people who are very sick sometimes need higher doses. But for most everybody, especially for adults, for the first month, if they just follow my normal system, which already has a built-in dose ramping protocol, is all they need to do. But I do like to talk to people and try to see if they need any custom dosing. The big thing that I encounter a lot is if you have a mercury filling in your mouth, instead of like 1 drop of silver a day, you want to take 2 drops of silver a day. You take extra silver because silver is a direct antidote to mercury. If people have lead poisoning problems, you take a little extra gold because gold is a direct antidote to lead. If people are really toxic, it's really important that they follow my dose ramping protocol and start low on the iodine because you don't want to dump out all the toxins too fast. Things like that.
wow. Okay. So let's talk a moment about where do you get these minerals? Are they even minerals? I'm so not a chemist. Where do
They
you
are. They're
get
all
this
minerals.
okay. So where do you get them? And you then have created your own system. So you're the one that's putting, breaking them down, putting them together. Is that what I'm
As a
hearing?
as a chemist and manufacturer, I'm legally responsible for them. Yes. So I am the chemist and manufacturer of these products. That's correct. Whoever puts them in the
Excellent.
bottle is accepts that. But as far as where they come from, ultimately iodine comes from the ocean.
Okay.
Okay. And it was a big deal. People don't want their iodine from the Pacific Ocean because a lot of that's contaminated with the Fukushima stuff. Ultimately, my iodine comes from deep mining sources, so ancient oceans that aren't contaminated is where ultimately I get mine. There's quite a sort of food chain, if you will, to getting iodine. I'm not going to explain it. There's a lot of trade secrets involved, but it gets very complicated. There's a DEA license involved. There's all kinds of crazy, like it's way more crazy than you would ever imagine, the
Of
sourcing for
course.
the iodine. But
Right.
ultimately, my iodine comes from deep mining sources, basically from ancient oceans that aren't contaminated, which is really
Okay.
important. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you think about it, for in people's diet, people mostly get it in like sea vegetables, like sea kelp, seaweed. People who live by the oceans, like people in Japan live longer, or used to
Right.
before Fukushima, because they were getting all that seafood. You're getting people. You go to the beach, you feel better. You're breathing iodine coming in from the ocean. So that's where iodine ultimately comes from. Silver and gold are just all over the place. I really think humans first encountered it in rivers. So like sort of as
Right.
humans
The
moved away
water.
from yeah, they were living on the water, and they were noticing that in some places they sort of had holy water. You would bathe
Right.
in this water and you would get better, or you would drink
Right.
this water and you would have like a spiritual experience that's got the gold in it, you
Right. Yeah.
know.
Um,
But my silver and gold, to answer that question, I was talking about, I work with an internal medicine doctor, Dr. Kaylin Pop, who works with another chemist, Dr. Dan Goya, who has the patent and trade secrets on the silver and gold that I do in my system. And then my product, I bottle them as new silver and new gold. But they really are. I really want to stress this. I have the highest quality colloidal silver and colloidal gold in the world. It is the high quality 10 nanometer food grade stuff. I bottle my silver at 100 ppm, my gold at 50 ppm, and which is parts per million. And it really matches the size of the particles. So they're 10 nanometers in size and uniform, not just like all over the place. And they're also coated. It's coated, and they're coated in glutathione, and they're food grade. So you can take them, and they're really, really wonderful. They're not like anything. Hey, did you see in the news? Jeff Bezos, Amazon guy, is banning Whole Foods from carrying colloidal silver anymore. So Whole Foods doesn't have colloidal silver at all anymore. Yeah. And
Oh,
so, but it
wow,
doesn't
no, I did
matter
not see it.
because the colloidal silver they had is complete crap compared to what I have
That's
anyway. But now people can't even get the crappy stuff. So
right.
I mean, but who cares? You can still get the real stuff with me. But most people have never really tried real silver. Most people never even heard of colloidal gold. A fair number of people, especially women, have at least heard about iodine and the importance of
Mhm.
iodine nutrition. But it's also important for men. But it's also really important for everyone, just for detox. And there is a difference in the dosing on the iodine for men versus women. Women take twice as much iodine as men, but
Right.
men still need it as well. So,
I did not hear that about them taking it out. And that is the distinction I do want to make. Guys, like I said, my husband, there was like 2 years there that he was all about buying all these products, and they didn't really, there's nothing special about them other than the high price tag, like they didn't do anything. Yours, when I first tried it, I was like, wow, immediately.
yeah, it's the real stuff.
It's the real stuff is what I'm telling. So, and that's what I said. I mean, I'm not, I try not to put people on here unless I believe in them and or their product. Like I believe in this stuff. I believe in Ben here. Um,
Well, what we see in the grocery stores is they'll take something that's good and then they'll try to make a really bad version of it to sell to the general public
right,
so that people don't know how good it is.
right,
There's
exactly.
a lot of products like that. I mean, especially like honey. Like real honey is one of the most amazing things in the world, and 80% of the stuff you'll buy is fake
Yeah,
or
it's
nothing
fake.
like the real
It's
stuff.
from like
So it's the
rice
same way
water or
with
something. Yeah.
silver, iodine, and gold. It's very difficult. I mean, my iodine is in alcohol, and there's all these alcohol laws, and so everybody wants to miscategorize it and stuff. But it's a health supplement, so like there's a lot of hurdles to getting the real stuff to people. Most of those hurdles are put up by the government on purpose to
Right.
confuse
Yeah.
people from getting the
Yeah.
good stuff. And
Right.
colloidal gold was really secret stuff, especially 7 years ago when I started. Very, very secret stuff. I first heard of colloidal gold because I have 2 degrees from MD Anderson Cancer Center, and they were treating cancer with gold. And they did the controls. They were trying to stick the gold particles to antibodies and say that the antibodies were killing the cancer and that the gold was just bringing it there. But the controls were showing that the gold was killing the cancer without the antibodies. And then they like tried to cover it up because, yeah, all three of my
Right.
products are anti-cancer. All three of my products are antiviral. There's a lot of cover-ups with it, and the
Yeah.
gold is really good for rheumatoid arthritis. There was a paper about that in 1994, and then that's where they started covering stuff up. So there's a
Wow.
lot of stuff in medicine that is known and has been known a long time. You're just not hearing about it because the religion that's in control right now doesn't want you to know.
Excellent. And that's why this is so dear to my heart, because this is, ladies and gentlemen, when you read ancient texts as I teach here, and people are living well beyond 120 years, well beyond this, our bodies are made to sustain life, but it's through detoxing all the crap of today's world. It's through, living a healthy lifestyle and this, getting rid of the heavy metals that are holding us down. So Ben, I don't know if I can express to people how valuable you and your product are. I just don't know. I'm hoping I'm doing that. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, come and talk with him. If you can't make it down to Ringgold, Georgia in September, set up a free consultation. Be able to have more of a conversation with him than what's just happening here. I believe in this product, and I believe so. Ben, I will say, how much do you charge for a month's worth? Because a month's worth, in my opinion, does it can do the detox to catapult people into a healthier lifestyle, a, a healthier brain, so everybody can get to that higher consciousness that they want to have. This can entice and bring in and usher in a new world if we chose to, people.
So I made my system in a very special way to where it's actually a 6-month detox system.
Wow.
Now it's true you experience amazing benefits in the first month, But you have to realize the dose ramping on the iodine takes a full month just to ramp up. The first week you do 1 drop, then you do 2 drops, then you do 3 drops, then you do 4 drops. So in 1 month time, that's how long it takes you just to get to your baseline dosage. And then you really need a few more months after that to get detox. So that's why I designed my system to be a 6-month detox system. I will be giving out free samples at the fair, but it's a 6-month detox system, just so you know. But you will definitely feel amazing health benefits in the first month. Most people feel more energy, more mental clarity, things like that. And it goes for $300. You mentioned I'm selling it. I'm not exactly selling it anymore because now I'm a church. And so basically I take donations and I give it to you as a free gift. Semantics, I know, but you can also get a tax exemption for donating to charity because my IMedDo Foundation is a church charity, as I was talking about.
I haven't been able to explore that because that happened after we had met. But I know that
I had to do that. Let me tell you why. It's because they're censoring people so bad. You really have to become a church nowadays to have your full freedom of speech, because if you look at it, freedom of speech is a subset of freedom of religion under the First Amendment. So I really recommend people, if you're on the fence about being a church, be a church, because then you can really get your full freedom of speech. Because before, I get a lot less censorship. I get a lot less censorship now that I'm a church because they can't censor me anymore.
Yeah, I've actually kind of thought about that, but I'm not there yet. I agree with you. I understand why you had to do that. $300, guys. Here's the thing. That is nothing. That is absolutely, that is a perfect donation to get our bodies realigned with how they're supposed to be in nature. Ben, I'm gonna ask one question and we'll probably have to say goodbye. We're all looking at possibly a food shortage, right? So everybody is talking about, okay, I'm going to grow my garden. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Well, let's imagine that all of a sudden, bam, we don't have the food that our bodies used to. That would end up being a very harsh detox, especially for those with diabetes, or a very harsh, all of a sudden, my body's not receiving the nasty chemicals that it's used to, that I'm used to getting. It'd be a harsh detox, in my opinion, for many people, because their bodies are just, our bodies become accustomed. Like if you, let's say there's a food shortage and all of a sudden we're used to eating mac and cheese that's loaded with sugars and chemicals and horrible for the body, and now we have to eat a salad every day, our body would react. Meaning
that would be very good for people if they stopped.
I think it would be very good, but I'm thinking about the people that all of a sudden they would feel sluggish. They would feel like they're not getting the sugars that they need. You got to think of the program people are in. I would say do this to prepare our bodies to.
I'm doing that myself. I mean, I'm going to low carb.
Oh, Ben, slow down a minute, honey, because you're cutting out for a minute. Okay, Ben. Ben just froze. See, maybe. Ben, can you restart, my dear? Oh, maybe it just doesn't want to record this answer.
But to answer the food shortage thing, my solution for that is I really recommend people, if they haven't done it, to learn how to identify. Okay, I want to recommend to people, if they're really worried about the food shortage, which I think they should now. I mean, my grocery store is like double the cost for vegetables and stuff. But my solution for that, where I live, because I live on a little bit, topic was food shortage, first of all. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm now you're here, darling.
Can you hear me, Courtney?
Yeah, you just started coming back in.
Get an answer on this one.
I hear you now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So the topic was food shortage. First of all, I want to comment on food shortage. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. I want to comment firstly on food shortage. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
I'm not sure you can hear
Yes.
me.
I think what's happening, folks, is I'm frozen on his end and he's
but-
frozen on mine. Yes, Ben, continue. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, well, we might just have to end it there, folks. He was coming in, and now I think we might have lost him.
Oh,
If I have to end this, ladies and gentlemen, from not answering that last question, interesting, I will put all of Ben's information, Dr. Aaron Benjamin Goins, in the description. I'm trying to listen to see if he pops in. And he's Dr. Bengo HealthWarrior. I do want to stress, guys, like if we know family members that we can perceive, oh man, if they don't have their cigarettes, if they don't have their this, they don't have their that, their body's going to go through very harsh detox very fast. Or if they can't get their typical medicine that they're used to, or their body is used to now eating a bunch of really crappy food, is detox good? Yeah, that would be a very harsh, fast, scary detox already during scary.
disconnected it?
It's okay, guys, but I'm gonna shut it down, sweetheart.
Hello? Apology, our worst nightmare.
It's okay. I know, it's very interesting.
Courtney, can you hear me?
Yes, dear. So I
Her screen's still
suggest,
frozen.
it's okay, but I'm gonna close it up, my dear. So I do suggest, guys,
Well, it says
prior-
it's recording. I don't know if anyone can hear me or not.
It's
but
okay,
I'll still
Ben.
try to answer the question, whether there's anyone listening. So the question was about food shortages and whether if people who were used to getting a lot of sugar in their diet.
We are having technical issues, guys. So I love you all. I do suggest, though, as if Ben, I think Ben was going to talk about that. If somebody's used to a lot of sugar at once, or smoking cigarettes, vaping, this, that, whatever a lot of the chemicals that we take in, it is best to maybe start the process of getting all of that out. So the shock is not so severe when we're going to need our bodies. We're going to need clear thinking. We're going to need all this stuff, right? I'm telling you, his product is the best I've ever experienced, ever, for cleaning out everything. So I will put his description below. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able, I believe, to say goodbye to Ben. But all of his information is below. I adore you, stars. I really do. Let's start thinking of how to become healthier so our light can shine even brighter when it is dark. I love you all. Namaste.